Yeah, so the most important difference between today and 2030 is that we're going to have, I'm a big believer that we're going to have the regulations in place that will ensure that it's a level playing field, that will encourage everybody to make the right decisions as well as to make the right investments. That's the big difference. What will be the same? I think what probably will be the same is that we will still have some people who don't believe in our energy transition and that eventually we will become net zero. Yeah, future developments, there will be plenty of future developments. And we're already seeing a lot of positive signs. Massive advancement in wind technology. Wind is free, and wind is something that we can install and deploy on the existing fleet, which will enable everybody to consume less fuel. So it's a given that as more investments come into wind, and we advance also in the technology, it becomes more scalable, it becomes more economical, it becomes more affordable, and then adoption obviously will increase. Dual fuel vessels, as well as investments in future fuels. I think those are going to be a big difference. How are we positioning ourselves? We're positioning ourselves by putting our hands in all of these different pots, testing and trialing different technologies. We have 3 ships with 3 different wind technologies. The Pyxis Ocean obviously is the most famous one of all with the wind wings and with bar technologies, but we also have others. We have the TR Lady with rotors. We're testing suction sails as well. We've already ordered dual fuel methanol ships, and hopefully from here till 2030, the technology and the engine makers will also be ready for us to order ships that are dual fueled with ammonia possibly. Yeah, so this is a sensitive question, and it's a critical question as well. Everybody is so fixated on the technology aspect, and I don't think we're paying enough attention actually to the seafarers who are going to be using these ships and going to be on board those ships day in and day out. Especially taking into account that with the future fuels, there will be a compounded added risk, right? Because it's going to be a lot more dangerous for seafarers to be on board those ships. So at all of the different educational levels globally, I think as an industry, we need to collectively have a responsibility and accountability and a mandate to make sure that we are training those seafarers for what's to come. We need to start now. We already know that there's going to be a huge deficit of seafarers in the next few years. What's going to be more important is not just the deficit in the numbers, but in their qualifications, in their skill sets. So even starting today is a little bit too late, but it's at least better late than never. Your questions are tough today. One thing to change. How can we work together? How can we work together? Especially on decarb and achieving net zero. Every single day we hear of, a new center in a different part of the world. I fear that those centers are doing a lot of great work, but they're not necessarily coordinating amongst themselves to make sure that, the efforts are not duplicated. So if there is one thing that I would like to change is that we collaborate more and we work together and we share more and align who's going to do what so that we're actually making progress on all fronts versus having too much cooks in the same kitchen looking at the same problem. The key message is that I don't think we have an option to be more sustainable and to be more sustainable in terms of our emissions, but also to be more sustainable from the human element. We need to be able to attract the right talent and new talent and to remain an attractive employment of choice, an employer of choice. Shipping is a very, very wide industry and it covers so many different segments and it can actually cater for everybody. Container business is very different than the cruise liners. It's very different than dry bulk. It's very different than wet. So how can we do that? We need to really appeal for younger generations. And the only way we can do that, we know for a fact that future generations are extremely, extremely concerned about ESG. So we need to lead by example. We have to actually walk the talk. and not just say we want. We have to collectively work together to achieve that sustainable future that is befitting for my generation, but also for many generations to come.